Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast episode. And I've got Martine Cohen, and she's an executive and life strategies coach and inspirational speaker. And so today's conversation is all going to be talking about communication consciously, which I'm really excited and eager to talk about. We're talking about freedom, mindset, facing your fears. And I think for the female segment of the audience, the entrepreneurs, executives, professionals, doctor, lawyers, dentists, really enjoyed this guest. So, Martine, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, start off by introducing yourself, what you do, how you got there, and I'm excited to dive in.
Absolutely. So, actually, I'm an attorney by profession. I was a happy attorney, working hard, a bit of a perfectionist, I have to say. At those levels, we all are sometimes, but not necessarily realizing it. And I was going about my business, going about my life, had a family, whatnot. That's it until 2016. In 2016, I was driving down the street and there's a car that just bashed into mine and I lost consciousness. And in that moment, my entire life changed. When I regained consciousness, and I don't know for how long I was unconscious, I no longer had the use of my brain.
Mm.
So I had a very serious concussion. I was diagnosed with post-concussive syndrome. I couldn't work anymore. I loved mental gymnastics, everything strategy. That's like what I lived and breathed. It was like my brain power,
Mm.
and I couldn't do anything. I didn't even know who I was anymore. So I felt like I was losing myself. So I went inside of myself. We all have an inner landscape where our hopes, our dreams, our fears, our limiting beliefs, they're all stored inside of us. And I started just exploring that. And I realized how many fears we have, how many limited beliefs we have, how much I want to say like gunk or accumulation or layers of dust that become encrusted dirt that we have from childhood and all the way through our life experiences. They translate in that way into us. And we don't know that it's there, let alone go exploring it and perhaps removing it if it doesn't serve us anymore. So that's where I was at with this concussed brain. I was going inward. Nothing was stopping me from going inside because our brain is the one that usually stops you. Your thoughts are like, no, no, you can't do that. You don't want to rock the boat inside of you. I don't want to know what skeletons I have in my own closet. There was nothing stopping me. So I just went freely and explored like an adventure and open mindset because I had no mindset basically.
Mm.
I found all these things and I worked through them and I dismantled them. And it gave me this sense of power and freedom. And my brain is still concussed. And then I understood that we're so much more than our brain. We're so much more than our personality,
Mm.
so much more than what we believe we are. Yet the essence of us is something beyond that. And I started feeling better. I ended up healing my brain for the inside out, but that's a story for another time. And I'm able to have this conversation with you. I'm back to completely normal. I'm working again. And what ended up happening was it gave me access to this whole other world. And over time, I had people coming to me. I was a consultant for growth companies, and CEOs would come to me for the legal aspect, but it ended up turning into like a strategies and life strategies. Behind every company is a person. Behind every product is a person, right? We're not like business and professional. We're one person. We're one human being. And my business over time kind of pivoted, and it turned into life strategies coach, business strategies coach, and in time, and I have my clients to thank for that. I started speaking. I was asked to speak. So now I'm an inspirational speaker. And I just released my book on Amazon called No More Layers. You don't want any more layers between you and your own inner power.
That's interesting. Yeah. Very powerful. And I've done a lot of inner work myself to peel back all those layers and just what you'd call the crust and all those trauma that's stored up in your body and kind of identifying that and doing the work. It's a lot of hard work, but it's amazing journey. Yeah. I know a segment of the audience, they're listening and they're like, yeah, a lot of them are like daydreaming and sleepwalking. They just wake up, the alarm, get up, get in their car, 9 to 5, come back, cook dinner, the same thing over and over. And they know sometimes it takes like something, a knockout from the universe or something just to wake you up. How do, maybe even this podcast, how do people, when you talk about waking up, what's your advice? Like just people that are just like daydreaming and not feeling their potential. They may be a CEO executive. They could be a doctor. There's so much more.
So first, I do not recommend a concussion. You do not need a concussion to get this far. You really don't. It's about pausing. We're very outwardly focused in our society today. Everything is about what we can, success is measured by outside success, and our thoughts and our attention is grabbed by so many things. And with the advent of technology and social media, it's fantastic in some ways, but it also grabs our attention. So we don't have any time for ourselves. We don't have time to go inward and check in. Like, how many people get up in the morning and the first thing they do is check in with themselves? What's my intention for the day? What kind of day do I want to have? And what am I going to do to get there? And it doesn't matter what the external stimuli are. What matters is your intention. What matters is your bond with your relationship with yourself from the inside, and being trusting and understanding that you can go out there and have the best day with the worst circumstances, because
Mm.
it's how you show up to your day. So being very intentional in what we do, our brain likes to put us in automatic pilot. So the daydreaming, the 9 to 5, that's great for the brain. It's not people's fault. The brain is wired to expend as little energy as possible because it saves it in case there's a life-changing virus coming at your door and you're going to get killed, or the lion's about to like eat you up. In 2024, most places in the world, that's not a threat, but the brain is still wired like that. So it's not surprising that most of us in today's world expect, especially when our brain is overwhelmed from all of the technological and digital distractions, that's exactly what it's going to do. So yes, daydreaming and doing 9 to 5 and having this kind of like very regimented life, brain loves patterns. So we're going to come and disrupt the patterns. We're all going to be disruptors. And what that means is you're going to take charge of your brain and not let it lead you.
Yeah, really, really insightful, really impactful. Cause like I said, sometimes for me, it was just like these nudges, like there's something more. What if you didn't have to do this? What if you could? But one thing that really stood out when you were talking is this power of intention. And so you talk about a lot about in your speeches and your coaching, conscious communication, and elaborate what conscious communication is and how you can apply this in your day-to-day relationships, your profession with colleagues, coworkers, clients, etc.
Yeah. So that's a great question, because conscious communication is all about being aware and not being on automatic pilot, taking yourself off of that
Mm,
and going into a different kind of mode where you're very present.
mm,
Many times, even when having a conversation, so I'm very present with you, my mind's not wandering. But often what happens is when you have a conversation with somebody, as much as you want to be there and you want to be into it, all of a sudden your mind starts wandering and you remember, oh, I didn't do this and I got to go pick up the kids, and oh yeah, and there's onions that are missing and I got to do laundry later. And it's unintentional, right? It's not like you set out to be that way, but it comes and it distracts you.
mm,
The idea is to get to a point where you quieten your mind and you are so present that your brain just comes along with you for the ride and knows that later on it'll deal with everything else that's on your list. So the first thing is to be extremely present.
mhm,
Second thing I want to say is conscious communication is not just about already being ready for the answer as the person is talking, right? Your brain prepares you for the answer because it wants you to be ready. And it's open mindset. Let me hear you to the end. And when you're done, I'm going to formulate my response based on everything that you said and how I absorbed it. So I'm very present. We can be very present in the entire process. But I would say that before we can apply that to other people in our relationships with them, we need to apply it with ourselves. As much as I talk about conscious communication, I also talk about relationship to self. How do you communicate with you? Do you wake up in the morning and really listen to yourself?
mhm,
Or do you just, okay, I'm late, I gotta go, and I'm tired, I can't believe it, it's gonna be a bad day. Like, how do you speak to yourself?
mhm.
Because you can't have conscious communication with somebody else before you can do it with yourself. You can't actually do something or be some way for someone else truly if you can't be it for yourself. So conscious communication is not about worrying about how something's going to land for you and reacting to that. It's proactive.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, what I really love about it is like with your kids or with your spouse, you're like very present and you, as opposed to just like talking and the verbals like 10% and the rest is 90% like nonverbals, and really feeling the other's emotions and responding to that. The other question I have for you is because a lot of people are living out of alignment. And so you talk about freedom of choice and how basically an example is a lot of them are living careers that their parents or their spouses or society deems as quote necessary. And so how do people like set boundaries and how to align their decisions with their true self?
So that's another excellent question. So there are two things in that. One is about the alignment and one is about the freedom to choose. So we're called to make, I don't know, maybe hundreds of decisions in a day, like micro ones, big ones. But if we stop to ask ourselves, how many of those decisions were actually choices?
Mm,
Because a lot of times we have to decide when we have two options before us. Automatically, we have to decide one, whether or not we realize it or not. What am I going to have for breakfast? Am I going to have strawberries? Am I going to have blueberries? Am I going to have Greek yogurt? Am I going to have toast? I don't know. But so these are decisions. But the question is, instead of doing them on automatic pilot and getting it off your plate and checking that, it feels good to have that check on the checklist. But the question is, did you decide and you got the stuff done? Or were they actually choices? And by choices and alignment, you check in, take the 3 seconds that it takes to check in and say, which one speaks to me more here? Which one, if I had all the options in the world out of these two, which one do I'm actually drawn to? And sometimes it's neither. And then that's okay. That means you got to go find yourself another option, not force yourself to decide because that's out of alignment.
yeah. What I really love about this is because we're going to talk about basically, you talk about your healing journey and you talk about healing yourself energetically from the inside out. And so, peeling back the layers of the onion, what do you mean by healing yourself energetically from the inside out? What does that look like, or what is that process, or what does it feel like?
Yeah. So once you go inward, that's a process that is going to feel differently for each person because it's super personal. But in reality, what it is simply understanding that we have so much more power than we think, and it goes way beyond our intellect. So in my case, because my brain was dysfunctional, I just went in because truly nothing was stopping me.
Mm,
Nothing was stopping me from going inside. Nothing was telling me, what do you mean energetic? What do you mean spiritual? What do you mean? It's your brain that tells you these things that kind of stops you from fully expanding because the fears come in. Well, when none of that happens because your brain is not doing its job, then you can just go in freely and explore. And the entity that's exploring wasn't my brain. So it's actually my essence. So I got a glimpse of what my essence felt like.
mm,
And it's powerful. It's almost like your spirituality because we're spiritual beings, right? In a body. And it allowed me to merge the two and just go in and find all these fears, dismantle them. And in that way, I healed myself. And then I went into my brain and started healing synapses. You know how you hear some people can heal themselves, let's say from a cancer tumor or from another chronic illness that they have, or we can do those things. Again, it's the power of focus. It's the power of intention. It's where we place our attention. And to a certain degree, whatever you can help your body with, you can. We say, even in medicine, they say that the positive attitude of a patient makes a big difference in their recovery. But that's not medical. That's not scientific in the way that we understand science.
mm.
That's energy. That's the energetic aspect and power that we have.
Interesting. And what is that when you say go inside and heal yourself energetically? Is it like, do you feel certain areas of the body are tense or constricted, or you feel like a warmth or a coldness or a different vibration? I'm just trying to get more sense of what that process looks like and feels like.
Sure, of course. So different people will feel it differently. That's really important to note. There isn't one wrong way or right way to do it. The most important is to have the intention to do it. Because when you have the intention to do it, then eventually you'll be led to it because it's our birthright. It's like connecting with yourself. What's
Mm,
going to stop you? Only you or maybe your fear. So the first thing is to remember that. I would suggest, and it's in my book as well, to start off with what I call the adventurer mindset, which means mindset is usually the thing that gets us to do something, but it's also typically the thing that's the biggest obstacle to anything, right? You want to start a new workout session, your program, or you want to just, start a new habit. It's very difficult, not because you don't want to, because your mindset's not quite there yet. So it stops you. So if you have an adventurer mindset, by that, an open mindset, one that's not judgmental, one that's ready to explore, one that trusts that they'll be able to manage and handle whatever comes their way. When we go on an adventure, without realizing it, we inadvertently step into that kind of mindset. We're open, we're excited, we might be a bit nervous, but the unknown is not scary. We're not looking to avoid it, we're not looking to deny it, and we believe that we're going to get something out of it. So imagine going inward with that approach, with that mindset, with that attitude. There's no fear. It's clear. You go in and then visualize, close your eyes. For different people, it's going to be different. For some people, they start by journaling because they need something more physical to start off.
Mm.
And then they will start feeling who they are, and that will open it up. There are different ways to open up that little window, but once it's open, it stays open. And then you can go inward and start exploring whatever it is that's bothering you and start figuring out what that's about without being afraid of it. You can pick anything in your life that angsts you or bothers you and do it like as an example or as a trial rather than just like going exploring. That might feel a little bit scary. We don't have to be major adventurers. We can start small, take something that's bothering you and say, okay, I'm ready to fully face it. It's okay. I created it. Therefore, I can get rid of it. Go inward and then say, okay, what is this exactly? I want to know more. You turn that fear into curiosity. Curiosity is a great tool for the brain. Keeps it busy while you go do what you want to do.
Mm.
Be surprised what it tells you, what comes up for you. And then once you understand what it is, it doesn't have a grip on you anymore, right? It doesn't hold you back because you understand it fully. And then you can get rid of it if you want. You can keep it, but it's no longer mysterious.
Mhm.
Most of the stuff that holds us back is not something we actually understand, know, or comfortable with. It's the discomfort. But if you examine the discomfort so much so that it becomes comfortable, it's almost like self-dissolving. It's almost like self-peeling back the layer. That's
Mm.
the beauty of it. It's sacred work. It's hard work in that sense, but it's not excruciating. It'll make you feel good. It's an inner shift. It's an immediate shift.
Mhm.
And from that point forward, that fear, that discomfort doesn't rule your life anymore. You don't have to answer to it. Your choices can be based on what you want, not on avoiding that discomfort or answering to that fear.
Interesting. Yeah, it sounds it's like a journey. It's a lifelong process, and for some, because we all come with our own set of emotional trauma and baggage, and everybody's healing process and journey is a lot different. And it kind of reminds me of like I have a colleague and friend, like he is very successful in like business and entrepreneurship. And when you were with him, like that's all he could. And like basically, like when you could see, basically that was like his front is like success and this business and everything was a front. And then occasionally you could see like his true self come out like a trend and then it would close back up and it would be about business and entrepreneurship. It's really energetically you could see it. And I know we have 5 minutes left and you talk about this process of healing. So how does Reiki, theta healing, I'm not sure what that is, and energy codes facilitator, how does this help in the healing process?
So basically, those are things that I got myself certified in because you know how it is. If you're a bit of a perfectionist, and I totally was, it was like, hey, it's not enough that I have this. It's not enough that I can do this. It's not enough that I'm an attorney. You want more certifications and more. Really, it was for myself because what it ended up doing was making me better and making me more in touch with myself and making me better at what I do. I talk to a lot of managers and CFOs and CEOs about leadership. And the first thing in leadership is, are you leading yourself? Before you can go out and lead others, are you the leader of your own life?
Mhm.
Because a true leader wants to bring the best out of everybody. That's a true leader, right? And then a chapter in my book all about leadership and all about like employer-employee relationship because it's fascinating. But does the leader stop for a second and say, am I the leader of me? Or is something else leading me? Because it starts with you. Everything starts with you. If there's something in the workplace, if something in the business that's not working your way or whatnot, sure, there are external circumstances, but check in with yourself first. Is there anything on the inside of you that's misaligned? Because you can change your outer reality by first changing your inner one. And
Mhm.
you're much more set up for success when you go out into the world and much more ready.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. How can people, I really enjoyed this conversation, and how can people find you and follow you, check out your work, reach out to you? And if they're interested in this aspect of their healing journey and it resonates with them, how can they work with you?
Absolutely. So, first of all, they can go to my website. It's very easy, www.martinecohen.com, or they can find me on Instagram as well. My handle is Martine Cohen NML underscore. And I just wrote a book. It just came out on Amazon on Monday, this past Monday. Hit bestseller in a number of different categories for hot new releases. So I really invite you to purchase a copy. It's on Amazon. It's called No More Layers. Discover your inner power and reclaim true freedom from the inside out. because that's what I aspire for my readers to be able to do. And they can reach out to me, Martine at martinecohen.com. It would be my pleasure.
Yeah, I love that. And for the audience, I really enjoyed this conversation. Be sure to give Martine socials a like and follow, reach out to her. And thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.